Hello everybody, Grant Harrington here from Mukilteo John Scott office, but I'm out here in Snohomish at Space 802 here in historic downtown Snohomish, located at 802 First Street. So this week's trivia question, FHA, the Federal Housing Administration, has a certain loan program. It's a rehabilitation loan. This rehabilitation loan has actually some numbers associated with it and a letter. So it's 3 numbers and a letter. What are those 3 numbers and a letter? So watch the video to the end. I'll give you the answer. And if you stop by Space 802 today, tomorrow, or Wednesday, and I will award you with a prize. I've got stuff from the Malicious Women's Company along with Lululemon. And I'll have some other prizes as we go along. But stop in 10 to 3 today, tomorrow, or Wednesday, and I'll have a prize for you guys. Okay, this week's topic, near and dear to my heart. Mortgage originators, loan officers, loan originators. You hear lots of different terms for it. But the big question I hear or I get is, how do I choose a mortgage person or mortgage originator, loan officer, whatever you want to call it? Okay, they all have different names, and you can call them whatever you want, but they're all the same. I like to refer to them as mortgage originators. Okay, you'll hear mortgage broker, loan officer. You'll hear a lot of different terms, but it's pretty much all the same. It's your representative to get you a mortgage. Okay, so I get asked, Grant, how do I choose a mortgage originator? What should I do? Okay, well, I spent 13 years doing mortgages. And so this is a really, really, really important topic to me. In buying a house and buying a home, you buy 2 things, barring you pay cash. Now, if you pay cash, you only buy one thing. You buy a house. Well, you buy the house and land, all those things, but you buy the object. But for 98% of the people out there, they buy 2 things when purchasing a home. They buy the house, and then they also buy the mortgage. Okay? So you have to think in terms of buying a mortgage when you get a mortgage, because there's a price to it. There's a price to that money. Okay? So in buying a house, you have to know about the house. You got to get an inspection. You want to know top to bottom what you're buying. Okay? The same holds true in getting a mortgage. So much about whether you love your home that you're buying and that you're moving into is predicated upon that process, the buying process, the buying and selling process. Okay? So if that process in buying and selling a home, it absolutely is a terrible process. It's full of stress. It's full of anxiety, all of those things. Then when you finally do get into that new home, that stigma sticks with it. Okay? So we want to make sure that in buying a house, that process from start to finish is high quality. It's a good process. The buying and selling process is extremely daunting, and it can be stressful. And so we want to make sure that we make it as easy and as simple as possible. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about mortgage originators, loan officers, how to choose one. How do you choose your originator, your mortgage person, who you go to get a mortgage? Okay, so I've got 5 things. 5 things that I hold near and dear to my heart, that in choosing who to work with as mortgage originators. These are the 5 things that I would look for. Okay, so the first thing is communication and education. Okay, so that's number 1, communication and education. When getting a mortgage, one of the toughest things for a mortgage originator or loan officer is they're taking something that is very complicated, and they need to try to educate you on it in a very short period of time, so you are educated on what you're buying. And being educated on what you're buying is knowing, 1, what are you buying? What is the product? There are a ton of different mortgage products these days. But 1, what are you buying? How much are you paying for it? And what is the process to getting it? Okay, so those three things. So the first thing is that communication, that education that originator provides. Okay, so making sure that when you meet with them, when you meet with your originator, do they give you a good, are they good at communicating? Are they good at educating you so you know what you're buying? Okay, so having a knowledgeable buyer that knows the loan product, knows the cost you're paying, and the process to get it is vitally important. So that way you, the buyer, can feel comfortable with all of that, with that part of the process. Okay. Way too often, too many buyers are going into a process not knowing really what they're buying, how much they're paying for it, or the process to get it. Okay, we have a ton of originators, loan officers, people out there that over the last 5 years turned into order takers. They didn't have to be high quality. The bulk of the mortgages that they were doing were refinances. They were, and they could sit there and just take orders and from people, refinance the mortgage and send you along the way. It's much more important in a purchase transaction in the real estate world that you're working with a lender who's not just an order taker, but also is an educator. So that's the most important thing to me, is what does that communication and that education look like, especially for first-time home buyers, but even second and third-time home buyers. The mortgage process, the available loan programs, the cost to get it, they change all the time. I haven't done a home loan in 12 years, and so I am not an expert anymore on all of these things because just that entire framework has changed so greatly over the last 12 years. Okay, so that's why I rely very heavily on the originators I work with to provide that education and that communication. And just because you purchased a house 7, 8, 9 years ago does not mean that the products, the cost, or the process in getting a loan is still the same. So number one, communication and education. Number two, knowledge of all of the loan programs, but not just having knowledge of all the loan programs, but having them available to get for you. Okay, so this is something that a lot of buyers don't understand, that not every bank or not every mortgage broker has availability to 100% of all loan programs, let alone do they have knowledge of all of the loan programs out there. Okay, so continuing education, but also working with an originator that knows and is educated on all available loan programs, but at the same time also has availability to them. And so that way, put interest rate aside, put origination fees aside, discount points, put all of that aside. The amount of money that originator can save you by having you in the right loan program is so much more important than knowing about the day to lock you into a rate. I can't tell you how much money an originator can save you just by, making sure you're in the right program, which fits you, which fits how long you're going to be in the home, all those different types of things. And they're always changing. The availability of the loan programs is always changing out there in the marketplace. Okay, so your real estate broker, we can't keep up on that stuff, but your mortgage originator should be. They should always be kept up on loan programs and availability of those. Number three, process and performance. Can they close loans quickly? Okay, can they get you approval letters in a timely fashion? Can they, how quickly can they get your assets, income, and credit in front of an underwriter so you can have a very, very strong approval letter the day that you go to write offers? We have a huge lack of inventory right now. And so making sure that your offer comes with a really strong approval letter and not just a pre-qualification letter is very important. So that performance and that process that they have, can they perform in a timely manner And and can they get you those things? It might be in off hours. It might be some random hours or whatever. Do they have the ability to do that? But what is that process and that system that they have behind the scenes to be able to perform, to put you at a higher leverage situation in writing offers on homes? Okay, that's really important. And another piece to that is, how well do they communicate with agents? Us agents will talk to and communicate with brokers on a regular basis to find out how strong the buyer is. Before we take a house off the market, we want to know that financing is not going to be an issue. Okay, so that the performance and process is number 3. Does their bank? You can have the world's greatest originator. You can have an amazing loan officer. They can communicate, educate you. They can have knowledgeability of every loan program out in the world. But are they working for a company that just can't perform? Okay, those are out there. So performance and process is number 3. Number 4, cost and price. Okay, that's, it is number 4 on the list. You get a ton of people out there that think cost and price is number 1, but they don't know what they're buying. They don't know how to compare loan programs. They all they see is interest rates, interest rate. That's all they see. They don't understand the nuances of everything behind the scenes, the cost of mortgage insurance, they don't understand the difference between a 30-day lock, a 40-day lock, a 60-day lock, and understanding how those can save you some money. There's a ton of things that can save you money before cost and price. However, cost and price is important, okay? And not all originators are equal. They aren't, okay? But I do say you get what you pay for. I will tell you that for sure, especially in a mortgage company. And if you're going in to buy $1 million+ house or even a $500,000 house, this is the largest investment of your lifetime, right? You need to have confidence in that person that is representing you, that is getting you that mortgage, okay? That they're not going to screw it up for you and cost you your earnest money. Or if you have an appraisal come in low, what is that? What are you gonna do if that appraisal comes in high? Or what if you're gonna do if that appraisal comes in low? These are all issues that you need a high quality originator to help and work you through. Okay, but cost and price are important, and they're not always equal. And but if you don't know how to shop for a mortgage, then something can look substantially less expensive than another one, but can also be costing you more money. So that's why the communication education is key, so you know what you're buying. Okay, so, but number 4, cost and price. Okay, the last one, number 5 on the list, especially in buying a home, this one's pretty important. Problem management. Does your originator, does your loan officer, how are they going to perform if there are issues and problems along the way? Okay, there's a lot of things that can go south that are outside of the control of the real estate broker, that are outside of the mortgage lender's control. All of those things. How do we deal with those issues? How do we deal with those problems? Do they maybe have other loan programs available to be able to help with them? There's a lot of different things, but that ability, and usually those things only come from experience. So problem management / experience level of being able to deal with when there is a problem or there are issues. Do they freak out, or do they calm down and find a solution? So those are the 5 things that I look for, and who I work with, or who I will refer clients to. Those are the 5 things that are most important to me. And these originators that I work with have shown me over the years of doing loans that they have the capacity, and they are 5-star in all 5 areas. So number 1, communication education. Do you know more about what you're buying once you leave that originator's office or that virtual call or whatever it is? Do they educate you so you are crystal clear about what you're buying in the process to get it? That's number 1. Do they do that? If they don't, go find somebody else. Number 2, do they have knowledge and availability of all the loan programs out there? Okay. Some banks have really amazing rates, but they don't have all the loan programs available. Okay. So do your research, find out if they have their loan programs, if they have all loan programs available, and if they know about them all. So that's number two. Last one, or third one, performance and process. Make sure that they can perform in a timely fashion. Make sure that they can get your documents in front of an underwriter before you write an offer. That's really key. Don't ever write an offer with a pre-qualification letter. Make sure it's a fully pre-approval letter that's been where your stuff has been reviewed by an underwriter. Okay, so make sure that can get done in a timely fashion. Okay. Number four, what is their cost and their price? So if they've educated you enough, then you should be a educated shopper and you should know what you're buying. Last one, problem management. When there are issues, how do they handle it? Do you trust in them to be able to handle if any issues arise in the biggest purchase of your lifetime? So those are the 5 things. Okay, trivia question. The answer, 203K. So come on into Space 802 today, tomorrow, or Wednesday and say 203K, and I will get you a fun prize.